Welcome to Marion County Today. I'm Janet Carlson, and today our program is about the wonderful things that happen at the Marion County Juvenile Department. And with us today we have Faye Fagel, Juvenile Department Director.
Hello.
Hello. Haley Rudder,
Hello.
who is with the Fresh Start Market, and Scott Miranda,
Hi.
who is with the Fuel program. And we're going to learn a little bit about those programs, but first we want to learn a little bit about you. So we'll start, Faye, with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you before you got to the Juvenile Department? How long have you been here?
Yes.
That type of thing, yeah.
So I've been with the Juvenile Department for 11 years, always had a passion and interest about youth and being able to change the circumstances of youth. And so worked for the Oregon Youth Authority before coming to this position.
And you were in Iraq. Talk about that.
I was in Iraq. I was a civilian contractor in Iraq working in the juvenile justice, reformation of the juvenile justice system in a juvenile prison.
Excellent.
Thanks.
All right, Haley, how about your background? Where were you before you came to the Juvenile Department?
I was a student for a long period of time, and I started as an intern with the department, interning with probation, and I also worked in detention and some other areas around that surrounding area. Before that, I worked at Hillcrest for a short bit of time. I've also worked for the Salem Police Department as a volunteer for domestic violence victims and advocating for their rights and their safety. And then I worked for Fresh Start Market for about 10 years now.
Wow, 10 years. It's hard to believe it's been there that long. Scott, tell us a little bit about you.
General contractor for many years. After that, I did some maintenance director for some nursing homes. And then I came to the Juvenile Department and started running their wood shop and all their construction.
So Faye, thank you. Faye, let's talk about the Juvenile Department kind of at a high level first, and then we can kind of dig into the program. So what is the role and mission of the Juvenile Department?
So the Juvenile Department is responsible for any youth in Marion County who is arrested by the police. So if you are between the ages of 12 and 18, actually 17, but up to your 18th birthday, and you are involved in any criminal activity, then you would be referred by the police to the Juvenile Department. And then we make decisions about what happens to you, what is the response to the criminal activity. And we're focused on holding you accountable to the criminal activity, but we're also very, very focused on trying to change the behavior. We have a commitment to young people. We want to make sure that they get back on track and are successful in their future life. And so a lot of our energy and focus is on skill development and school and work skills and trying to change the path that they're on to be successful in the future.
So about how many youth do you see in a year?
Well, we probably get around 2,500 referrals a year from police departments. Some of them are for things such as runaway, and those are not things that we address through the Juvenile Department. We have about 750 youth that are officially in our juvenile program under jurisdiction and involved with our probation department.
So when you talked about having a commitment to youth and making sure that they get back on track, if people went on a tour, and I've gone on several even in the past year, of the Juvenile Department campus, I mean, you see the building up front, you know that there's a detention facility, and a lot of people think that's like a youth jail, but it's not.
Correct.
But then there are all of these different programs on the campus that youth can do. And so explain a little bit why those programs exist, what is their purpose?
Well, a lot of people, when they think about the Juvenile Department, think only about detention, and so that's a very small part of what we do. That's a custody setting, so we have youth in detention that are waiting pre-trial, if you look at the adult system, and need to be held in detention for a period of time. We have a 56-bed detention facility. We're operating 32 beds. We also have a shelter care for youth that cannot be in their home at the moment, but need a place to stay for a period of time. It's a 90-day shelter care program. We also have these very extensive work programs that we're going to talk about today. We have probation officers in a probation department that supervise youth around conditions and then are involved in a lot of skill development programs with these youth to change behavior. And then we also have a counseling department. So we have a significant issue right now with mental health youth being referred to the Juvenile Department. So the county has allocated for us funding to purchase, to hire mental health staff to work with our youth.
Right, so that's like a kind of a wide array, but for the programs themselves, generally they're skill building programs,
Correct.
right? And there's also this issue of restitution.
Correct.
So restitution is what? Why do we do that?
So most of our youth, probably most of our youth have a financial obligation to someone that they've harmed. So the criminal behavior that they were involved in involves some sort of loss to the person that they injured. And so the court order would require them to pay back that restitution. One of the issues is to have youth pay back restitution is very difficult in most settings. Having a 14-year-old and trying to get them to pay back $500 or $1,000 is very difficult to do, and we don't want the parents to just pay it for them. So we have these very extensive work programs that have been developed over 25 years at the Juvenile Department. And we have a high value that it's really good for kids to pay off restitution quickly. It's very good for them, and it's also good for the people who are victimized, the people in the community, to say, at a minimum, what I got out of this was I got my money paid quickly. And it's a good opportunity for the kids to feel good about having taken care of that responsibility. So it's good all the way around, and we've been very successful. I think last year, in 2015, I think we earned and paid out roughly, I think it was roughly $68,000 in restitution.
That's great. So let's quickly move to the programs because we're
Good.
running out of time.
Good, thank you.
Scott, let's talk about the fuel program. What do kids do in the fuel program?
Well, we teach them, well, they have an opportunity to learn the metal side and automotive, small engines and stuff like that. That's my other partner that works in that department with me. And then I do the wood shop. I teach them skills, trades. And a lot of times we have opportunities to go out into the community and build certain things. We've done some things for the Park Service, and it's a lot of fun to work with these youth. I spend a majority of my time with these youth, and I think it's probably the first time they spent so much time with an adult. And so we have a great impact upon those youth as we spend time with them, and they have an opportunity to learn that they do have a creative side. And we try to encourage that. And so everything we create in the wood shop goes to the market, and we sell that at the market. And so the youth have a sense of pride when they build something, take it to the market, and they're always talking about how quickly it sells.
Right.
And everything we have usually goes pretty quick.
So in the
Goes
holiday
fast.
season, when you go to the market to buy the things that your kids in your program make, there's reindeer and cutting boards, and talk a little bit about what kinds of things they make.
I try to break it up, not do the same thing all the time. We'll do shelving, clocks. We're doing bowls now, and I'd like to see them do some more carving. So we're doing some wood spoons and things like that. And so anything that we have that goes to the market, like I said, it goes pretty quick. So if you want something for the holidays, you got to get fast.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty quick.
Yeah, they're wonderful things.
Yes,
and
they're
we've been
great.
out there. They're just amazing. So.
Yeah.
Faith sometimes brings some examples to the department head meeting. So Haley,
Yes.
Fresh Start Market. So how's that set up, and what do youth learn there?
So we get youth in from referrals, and they are part of the juvenile department referred to us. We train them in job skills, so we train them in cashiering skills, customer service skills, food and drink preparation, I said customer service, just attending to the daily business aspects of running a small restaurant, and we also sell fuel products, woodwork and metal work. We do a lot of custom orders that we have customers request for. Right now we're selling Christmas trees and wreaths and swags. Everything is seasonal for us, so we do sell our own fresh fruits and vegetables that we usually grow on our own campus. So everything's seasonal. Right now is the Christmas season, obviously. So we have Christmas trees and wreaths for sale, and then handmade items for gifts. We run the restaurant year-round, so Monday through Friday you can come in for a hot bowl of soup.
What are your hours?
7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. We will
So you have breakfast items, lunch items,
breakfast
snacks,
items, lunch
right?
items, hot soup, sandwiches,
Yeah.
wraps, and of course an extensive coffee drink selection, espresso drinks and things of that nature.
So you're kind of like the supervisor, but then you have youth there that are actually working the window, doing
Yeah, it's a
preparing food,
team
that kind of
effort.
thing.
There's staff and youth working together as a team, and it does take a team to run that business smoothly. So yeah, we're always constantly training new youth coming in, and sometimes they stay for a long period of time because they have a lot of money to pay off, and sometimes they're very, very short periods of time. So we always do have new youth that we're training, and you'll always see a new face at the market for sure.
Right. Constant rotation.
Very good. So excellent programs, lots of opportunities
Yeah.
for people to participate by coming in
Absolutely.
and getting their smoothie or sandwich. I know the best tomato I ever had on a sandwich was at the Fresh Start Market, because you grow your own behind there, right?
Well, yeah, in the summer months, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very good. So Faye, one last question. What percentage of the kids pay off their restitution? I remember it was really high, right?
So I think it was somewhere between 92 and 95% when we were last looking at it, and we're very proud of that, and that's a very important outcome because we're able to do that through our work programs. It's not the only way that kids are paying restitution. They're also doing it in community settings as well. But the youth that have not paid is usually because they have a very large amount that they're paying, and so the time that they've had with us, we've focused on them paying that. We have a high value, but they weren't with us long enough to be able to complete the payment. But we think the 92-95% is a very good commitment to our community.
Great. Well, thank you all for
Thank you.
participating, and sounds like wonderful things are happening at the Juvenile Department.
And if I could just say one thing, which is we want to thank the public for their support of our programs.
Well, we're continuing discussions of Marion County's highly rated, and rightly so, juvenile department. And I have two people here. I got to read. It's educational advocates. And let's meet them first. Chris Kemp.
Hi.
Chris, okay, tell me, let's do a little background. Where
Okay.
are you from? How did you end up here? And then we'll get into the other stuff.
I'm a native of Wisconsin and got a degree in human services, and then went on for a master's in school counseling and did that for a number of years. We moved to Oregon about 1.5 years ago, and here I am, education advocate for Marion County.
Did you go through new employee orientation?
I did.
Did we ask you about Wisconsin then? I probably would if I can't.
No.
Oh, that is a big jump. How did you even hear about it, and what brought you specifically to Marion County? Or did you move here and then found the opportunity here?
We were looking at moving to Oregon, so I was researching different jobs. And Marion County, I looked on the website. I'm not sure how that happened. My husband works at the state hospital, so.
Well, you
may have
were able
been.
to find something close for both of you.
That's
And
right.
Marianne, I'm going to say it wrong. I'm going to try it once. Oh, I would have had it.
Almost.
Stefano.
Di Stefano.
Yeah, I was so close.
That's okay.
Would you tell us about your background, how you got here too?
Yeah, I have lived in Oregon for almost 30 years. I grew up in Florida. I'm a mom of 2 sons. In early years, I managed a chain bookstore, and then I took some time off to raise my kids and decided I wanted to go back to school, so I did that when I was in my 40s. Got my degree, and I'm happily celebrating 10 years at Marion County Juvenile Department.
Wonderful. That is. So I have questions here, but why is education so important at the juvenile department? Now I got to just, when I was looking at these, I think of kids coming in and out, different stages. Maybe some never go to school, maybe some do. How do you blend that all together and find a program for them? And especially if someone's just there for just a few days versus long term. So I don't know who wants to answer, or if you can, but tell us how it works and why it's so important.
Well, we don't usually have kids just for a few days.
Okay.
They're referred by their probation officer, and there has been a need established that they need some educational support. So we do things like assessments. We can determine their learning style. We can find out if they've been in school. Do they have any credits? Are they credit deficient? What's their attendance been like? Are they eligible for an IEP? Do they have a learning disability? Has anyone asked about that? So we are able to offer them some things that may have been overlooked if they've been moved around, if they haven't been attending regularly. We get to work with them one-on-one, but we also partner with parents, probation officers, schools, community partners, and are able to kind of put some pieces together to figure out what's best.
That's what I want to get at, putting pieces together. So when you said schools, I assume you go back to the school they came from and say this person has done these things, still needs these things, we could help with these.
Sure.
I'm making it all up, but what really happens?
Well, we will see if they've got a transcript and see if they've passed any classes, and are they credit deficient, and what do they need? Maybe they need an appropriate placement. Sometimes kids aren't in an appropriate placement. It's not really one size fits all for all kids. So some kids are not able to manage a whole day at school. Some kids have other obligations in the community. Maybe they're working, maybe they have other appointments that they have to do, so they need some time to do those things. They might flourish by doing an online class that will still help them get credit, but they can still have the opportunity to do other things that they need to do.
Then I'd like to hear, even after they're out of our programs, when they go back to the school, somebody's checking in and see how it goes. You get to do that part of it too? Do you get to see the finished product, I guess I'm asking about? Not like you like to. Go ahead.
I think, you know, once they're closed from probation, we don't. I mean, sometimes we can keep an eye at a distance, but most of the time, no. I think I see us as being liaisons of here's where they are, here's where we want them to go. We may never actually see once they're out the door.
I should have probably asked this beginning in the subject, but what's a typical youth that you deal with look like, or what are they like?
I see a lot of 10th and 11th grade students who are actually very smart and really good a lot of times with hands-on stuff, but they aren't real confident in the area of school even for whatever reason. And I think it's just a matter of looking at, okay, what are you good at? Here's what we can do to help you, and bridging them into going back into the school or placing them actually in an appropriate program for their needs.
Such a key time there for their sake and society's really, the 10th and 11th grade to go ahead and finish out, get it done, and you're that close. And it makes such a difference in their career and their life. Okay, let's put you on the spot. How successful have you been?
We've had a lot of kids that have turned things around. Once they connect with us, and even being on probation, sometimes that, I don't know if it's a wake-up call, but some kids really like the accountability. Maybe they haven't had that, and so there's a lot of opportunity for them to make some changes. We have a work program, and they're able to work, and some kids really like doing that. Then we have the probation requirements that they have to meet until they're done with probation, and if they are doing an education plan, we don't have requirements for them, but we sure like for them to participate, and that in itself is the reward, because they feel, like Chris said, they get more confident about their abilities. Maybe nobody told them that they had some smarts, and we love giving them encouragement. We love telling them, hey, you can do this, because maybe they've not had that before.
Do some take it like this is a second chance and perhaps let's get serious?
Absolutely, they do. And so we have had a lot of kids that have gotten credits. We have kids that have graduated. We have kids that are closed from probation. We have kids that have gone on to college. So it's really kind of bittersweet. You know, we like seeing them. We like to have them come, but they're closed, and we kind of hope we don't see them anymore in probation capacity, but it's cool to see them in the community.
Now, maybe I don't understand, and perhaps the public wouldn't either. We heard the other programs like parole and probation and different things. These aren't all kids that are just actually being held at the time. They're connected with the juvenile department in some portion, or are you only working with those that are in actual detention?
No, it's the juvenile department as a whole on probation, not just detention.
So they come in to attend classes or whatever counseling.
Well, they don't attend classes at our facility.
Okay.
But when they're in detention, that's a different
I've seen classrooms, and I assume that's it.
That's a different component. We are not in the detention
I'm going to run out of time, but how do you reach them and vice versa? How do they, is there a physical setting you meet at?
We have offices, and we have actually a classroom that's pretty cool that they can come to. And
well, that's what I saw and was confusing me a little, but they would meet there, and then you would give them ideas on what they need and what they're going to do.
Well, we work with what they've got already. They can bring stuff from school, and it's kind of a lounge. It's a comfortable place for them. A lot of kids don't even have something at home, a place free from chaos, free from distraction. So if they come, we have the lounge where there are computers set up. They have internet access to be able to do their online classes or research, and it's comfortable and it's inviting, and they like coming.
Well, thank you for the work you do. I'm glad you ended up from Wisconsin, 30 years here to find ways to help kids in Marion County, and I'm sure that's exactly what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, hello, we're back. I'm Commissioner Kevin Cameron. We're talking about our great juvenile department and here in Marion County and the excellent results that we get. And I have two guests with me today. I have Vicki Johnson, welcome Vicki, and Bobby Coswell. And maybe you could just start, Bobby, by just telling us a little bit about how you ended up in Marion County and how long you've been here. Just give us a little bit of background.
Sure. While I was a college student, I did my practicum, which is all like an internship at the juvenile department, and then worked for 2.5 years on call relief and detention, and then was hired full-time temp to cover for probation officers that had left or were on maternity leave, and then I was hired 28 years ago to work full-time as a probation officer, and now I'm a probation supervisor. So I've been with the department in one way or another for 30 years.
28 years ago, I may have come through your juvenile department.
I don't remember you. So you probably didn't come back.
Yeah. Well, we did meet 2.5 years ago
Yes.
with Joan in your office, I think it was, and had a great visit. So thank you for helping me understand a little bit about your work then when I first became a commissioner. And Vicki, why don't you share a little bit about your background?
I finished my college education in Oregon. Wasn't born here or grew up here.
Now you said in Oregon.
In Oregon.
Not at Oregon.
No, in Oregon.
Okay, that's
in
important.
Oregon.
You know, I've got the victory tie
yeah,
out today.
At Western Oregon.
Okay.
And then I worked for the State Forestry Division, and I worked in a residential treatment program, and then I was hired as a probation officer February 1st, 1985, so I've been with the department 31 years.
Wow, so we have, between the two of you, about, was that 59 years of experience in our juvenile department. So that's great, and that's the kind of experience that makes the program excellent. Why don't you tell us, since you've been here for such a long time, what's changing in the juvenile department area and how you work today versus 15 or even 20 or 30 years ago?
I think I could say one of the most significant changes is really that we've become very research-based and research-driven. And it took a long time for research to become available in the juvenile justice system, but we're a forward-moving department, and we have been very impacted in what we do by all of the adolescent brain research that's been done, and trying to understand better why juveniles are so different from adults and why we really have to have specialized services for them. So I think the brain research is a major issue, and then we also are dealing with very complex situations for kids. The kids that come to us today are coming out of abuse and neglect, significant trauma, very complex family systems that create major stressors for them. And when I started, when a youth was referred to us, they had maybe 1 or 2 known problems. Now they're just so complex. We have to be very current. We have to know the current research. We have to be very current on our methodology and how we deal with kids to provide the best services that we can. So,
and Vicki, maybe based on those challenges, how do you operate on a daily basis that may be different, that's changing some of the tactics that you use and based on research, et cetera?
When I first started, we were more corrections oriented than we are now, and the pendulum kind of swung to a social work dynamic. And now we've come to a middle ground where we understand there's corrections and accountability that's needed, but there's also social dynamics that are needed for kids regarding their education, mental health, substance abuse. And so we try to combine those two things, and we do that through effective practices in supervision, in community supervision, which is EPICS. And that's a way of doing business in a pretty research-based model that gives us the opportunity to talk to kids about the decisions that they're making, how they're making, setting goals, giving them opportunity to practice new skills in their home, in their community, at school, with each other, so that they are going out more things in their toolbox than when they came to us.
That's great. So the EPICS is the new, will you say that again, what that acronym stands for is?
Effective Practices in Community Supervision.
Great.
And it's something out of the University of Cincinnati that the juvenile directors in Oregon brought to our state, and Marion County has fully embraced that. We began training on it 5 years ago. It's been a long training process, but I am very invested in EPICS. I love it. It gives us an opportunity to be very efficient about how we do our meetings with kids, to be very focused, to really target the risk factors that are impacting kids' behavior. And the structure of EPICS is 4 components, and it's designed for us to do the meeting in an organized way so that we can ensure that we do an intervention with youth.
Great.
And we're delivering education and tools to intervene in negative behavior and attitudes, values, and beliefs so that we can actually change the way kids think, change the way they make decisions, and that we can equip them to meet the challenges that they face day to day.
Great. One of the things that would be really interesting to think to myself and maybe the people who are watching, I hope, is without using a name or identifying, maybe some of the success, or can you talk about specific successes you've seen as a result of the new program that you're implementing?
I have a couple of stories.
Yeah.
I have a youth 8th grader that was involved, is still involved in our department, and he was very much on the cusp of either gang or not gang life, and he was at our Roberts High School, and when he was there, our probation officer was engaged with him, doing pros and cons with him about his choices and behaviors, looking at the behavior chains of how his thoughts and feelings were compromising his success and the consequences that were happening because of poor choices. Connected him up with mentors, helped provide incentives for him when he was doing well. We have practical, tangible incentives. And that young man has made a clear decision that the gang life is not what he wants. He's a student now in another school, doing fine in that school. I just talked to his probation officer. He's closing his case successfully. So with all the different components of EPICS that are in place, we were able to get him on the right track. Another success story we have is a collaboration we do with our schools. We have a probation officer that worked very closely with the counseling services in the school and some of the behavior specialists in South Salem High School to teach them how to do DBT and EPICS. So if they bring in a student who's having a really tough day, not making good decisions, looking like they're going out of school because of the behavior, bring them into the office, call the probation officer up on the phone, have our actual documents there in the counseling center with them, work through the situation, and that probation officer has not had a student expelled out of school or suspended for school in 18 months. So that's a wonderful collaboration of where we've taught the school district to also work with these tools.
Great, and so you've helped a student see his life differently or her life differently, avoided potential high cost down the road with potential state corrections or what have you, and then added value to the lives that he's going to or she's going to touch down the road. So I just want to summarize, or just say thank you first of all, because 59 years of experience, and I know when we started this, you both had these 3 pages of notes here, and I said, you will not need to look down at those notes because you have such a wealth of great knowledge and experience, and I want to thank you both for your service here in Marion County, and I know you've impacted lives outside of Marion County because, as we've heard, people move around. So I just want to thank you for watching our program this month, and from all of our commissioners, we want to wish you a happy holidays, and we'll look forward to seeing you for our next program as we do Marion County Today in the future. Thank you.